madness. But it'll solve that problem. Your water will become crystal clear.
Well, hello. Come right on in. You're at Father Fish.
Well, hello, this is Father Fish. Did you know that there are at least 10 different causes for cloudy water? The one we all fret about is a bacterial bloom. It's caused typically by too much food in the tank. Now, it can be caused by other things. A fish or two dying, something else deteriorating, a gravel tank that is so loaded with waste. So there are several causes to bacterial blooms. It threatens the life because it burns off oxygen. If you find there's an odor, the water is cloudy, the fish are at the top gasping, you need to remove them to that container of water you have been saving for just such an emergency as this. So you remove the fish, put a filter in there, get it cranked up, swirl around with your net to try to figure out what it is that's caused the problem. Remove it. If it's particularly foul, you can remove some of the water, but that's not critical because once you get the offending culprit out of there, then it's going to clear up. You've removed the fish, so you've taken things out of danger. You've got an extra filter going, extra aeration. Just aeration will help a lot, just an air stone. Let it go. In a matter of 2 to 3 days, the water will be crystal clear again. It's the waste from all the biological activity, from the fish eating, the plants dying, the snails pooping, from everything, the detritus, the waste. Now, if you have a deep sand bed, and I always recommend a deep sand bed, 3-inch absolute minimum. If you can put an inch of dirt down, 2 inches of sand on top of it, you are golden. If you can't, if you got gravel in there, just add 2 inches of sand to it. It will create an environment that will allow all of this detritus to precipitate down into it and stay down in it. With gravel, it just sort of washes back out again. And that's what causes very often this detritus problem, where the waste is not escaping, if you will, from the water column. It's more or less staying in it. So adding sand will allow it to precipitate down in. Now, if you have sand and there's still detritus sitting on top of it, add a little more sand. The biology of the system is such that it's not deep enough to handle the biological activity that's producing that waste on an ongoing basis. Adding a little more sand will give it more depth, give it more volume to be able to handle a greater bio load, if you will. And that'll take care of it. Microfauna are little tiny microscopic animals. Now, you almost never see this as a problem in a tank that has fish in it, particularly small fish, because they eat it. It's food. It's their primary nourishment, and it's a great way to be able to raise baby fish. But if you have a shrimp tank, snail tank particularly, you may have clouds of little bugs swimming around. Typically, they're paramecium. They're not dangerous. They're not unhealthy. There's nothing wrong at all. To clear them up, the best way to do that is to put a little fish in there. They'll love them. And they're not going to go after your baby shrimp so long as they got these paramecium, because it's an easier meal. So a few small fish will clear that paramecium culture, that microfauna culture. Now, this is the other side. This is green water, plants in the water that have exploded. Typically, you get green water when you don't have enough other plants. Now, 1 or 2 plants are not going to solve the problem. You need 10 or 20. You need a lot of plants to be able to overcome green water. Of course, the other way to overcome it is those microfauna. Put them in there, they will love it. And then you have lots more of them. It's a great way to raise Daphnia, which is a wonderful food for your fish, or Cyclop. They love green water. So if you have green water, it's an opportunity for you to be able to raise some really wonderful food for your fish. Yellow aged water, old water. And you know what I mean. You haven't changed your water in months. You've been feeding, everybody's fine. You had an inch of gravel in the bottom, and the water just looks a little off. I call it pea water. It's pea water. Now, it's not actually, because it's not full of ammonia, probably. It's just yucky. You have the problem typically because you've got an inch of gravel in the tank. Add 2 inches of sand to that. Just put 2 inches of sand right on top of it. Rinse it out so you can pour it right through the water. It'll go down in there, it'll settle that, and then plant some plants. That gravel has enough nutrients in it to be able to satisfy the needs of plants. So plant a bunch of plants in there. Again, not 2 or 3, 10 or 20. You want a lot of plants, not 1 or 2 plants. Get bunch plants. They're cheaper. I even sell them. I sell 80 single plants, 16 bunches of plants, or 5 plants in a bunch for $59. You get all the plants you ever want. That's $15 shipping. Go to father.fish. You'll see it there. Oh, what a deal. And you get 16 different species. It's madness. But it'll solve that problem. Your water will become crystal clear. Foul, putrid water. I hope you've never been there. If you have, there are only 2 causes. One is a big fish died several days ago, maybe even only yesterday, and has deteriorated, rotted, if you will, and fouled the tank. If there's anybody left alive in there, get them out instantly. They're better off in the net out of water than in that. I know people who have quit the hobby over this, never went back. What fouls the water is you going on vacation and training your neighbor to feed your fish. That's what ruins aquariums. You'll make up little packets. Feed only 1 of these a day. 1 a day. You'll have 20 packets because you're going to be gone for 3 weeks. They come in day 1. Oh, all right, 1 packet. Here we go. Huh, well, that was quick. They ate every bit of it. Look at that, it's gone. They're still hungry. They're hungry. So give them another one. In 1 to 2 days, those 20 packets are gone, and he's off to the pet shop to buy more fish to save your fish from starvation. By the time you get back, well, I don't know what happened. It's terrible. I just can't even. All I did was feed the fish. That's all I did. I fed them. Oh no, you didn't leave enough. They were starving. Starving. You got starving fish and you're blaming me for them being dead. Well, I'm not surprised. I'm never going to help you again. Please, do yourself a favor. Do your neighbor a favor. Never, 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 nada, never let anyone feed your fish unless they are holding you by the hand every day watching you do it. In other words, somebody who lives with you, who knows what you're doing and why. What do you do with that tank? You can empty, get all the dead stuff out. Just hold your nose and get it out. Flush it down the toilet. It's a good place for it. Put some extra pumps and filters in there. You can do a partial water change, 50% if you want, not important. In 1 week, it'll be crystal clear. It will be fine. The water looks dirty. It's dusty. It's got stuff floating around in it. particulate matter. Typically that happens in a brand new tank when you've just put sand or gravel in, and there is these tiny little particles that just stay suspended in the water a little longer than you would like them to be. A filter will take them out, and point of fact, they will precipitate out. They're not anything really to worry about. I'm talking about what you see in the air when the sun comes shining through a window, the little tiny particles of dust. The way you know you have a dust problem is if the water just somehow never clears up. It just always sort of a little bit cloudy. It's a simple enough fix, really. I like sponge filters because sponge filters, while they're not expensive, they don't break down, they're easy to maintain and clean. They do take up a chunk of tank, so you just have to kind of decorate around them, if you will. But they're able to filter out very, very tiny particles, dust particles. Now, there are clarifiers you can use. Potassium permanganate is probably the oldest one. Be careful when you use any kind of clarifier. They are toxic. Too much will stress, if not kill, your fish, plus all the rest of the biology in the tank. So use carefully, use gingerly. Tannins are black water. This is when the water is dark. It's kind of brownish, crystal clear but dark, usually caused by leaves or peat moss or maybe driftwood, something that has been put in the tank, maybe deliberately with a so-called black water liquid that's poured in that's actually thick with tannins. In water that is soft and acidic, it's highly desirable for fish that come from those environments. So it may not be something that's bad at all. Likely is not something that's bad. You may not like it. Easy enough to clear up. Just add a filter to it. A carbon filter will filter it out. Remove the offending piece of driftwood that's causing it. Add another filter, a sponge filter, and it'll pull it right out. It is, however, something desirable, so you might reconsider and maybe be proud you have it rather than disliking it. This would be colored water from medications, dyes, maybe new sand or new decoration you put in that's caused the water to change color. Things like methylene blue turn the water blue. Aquaflavin turns the water yellow. Malachite green will turn it green. There are lots of different colors you can have from medications and other treatment. Activated carbon, again, will remove those colors. They're not dangerous. They are odd, but they serve a purpose for the time they're there. I never recommend water changes. I recommend cleaning the water, getting the offending stuff out of the water so that the water can be its pure self. You see, there's nothing wrong with the water. It's what's in the water that's the problem. So if you have the ability to remove those offending particles, the water will be able to be its healthy, happy, crystal clear self. That's what to do about cloudy water. Figure out what it is, then you'll know how to deal with it. Bless you all. Love you to pieces. Father Fish here. Bye for now.